Hello, Rahul.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, Rao. Thank you very much.
Hey, did you have a class last Thursday?
No. Okay, no. So Thursday we have maintained the center. There are some errors which have been encountered in the central finance system actually. So the server is not available for introduction part. So we are fixing that errors actually. Thursday we don't have the class.
Okay, so this is the first introduction class today.
Exactly.
So you're going to cover S4 HANA today or Central Finance?
No. So S4 HANA. Today we are going to look out the S4 HANA and something like about what are the three replications we are going to do from the source system to the target system. So we are going to see that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Good morning, Amir, Jashwant, Krishnaya.
Hey, Jaswant, how are you? This is Ajay.
Hi Mahesh. Hi Ajay.
Yeah. Okay. So let me start the session for today. So we all know that the agenda of the central finance. What is the central finance? Okay. So as I told you in my earlier class. Okay. Let me share my desktop to all of you so that we will be easy to understand. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, I'm sharing my desktop. Yeah, 1 second. Let me. Are you able to see my desktop?
Yes.
Okay. So normally, yes, sir.
This is Amir. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. So before I take up the central finance, okay. So except Ajay, Ajay Rasunga. Okay. So do you have overview on SAP S4 HANA? Or this is going to be the starting. This is going to be the starting step to your SAP S4 HANA. That you should have to know something about SAP S4 HANA, something like that.
You mean like we have experience before? Or?
No, I'm talking about your experience or something like about what is SAP S4 HANA, financial accounting, what is this universal journal ledger, accounting entry, about all these things.
Well, I'm learning that in your other class, so I'm going parallel on this.
So you're learning in my session?
I'm in your finance session as well.
Okay. What about others?
Mahesh, you have one more class in S4 HANA, or is it an online recording?
No.
Class?
No. We have the one more class I'm taking on purely on SAP S4 HANA actually. SAP S4 HANA Finance. That is completely S4 HANA Finance. So we are going to take up the classes as a greenfield implementation process over there. So here, this class is only related to the central finance. Central finance is nothing but how the source system documents are getting transmitted to the target system. The target system, we call it as the SAP S4 HANA system.
Okay, I see. I want to register for that class as well. I think that's for HANA.
Okay, you want to register for both?
Yes.
Okay. So you are the learning. Okay. So what about others?
Yes, Mahesh, I attended your S4 HANA classes 6 months back.
Okay. So you are aware about all the processes.
Right. I knew that.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So
one quick thing. Sorry, Rahul.
Yeah.
Ajay, last time I think you mentioned about the demand for this course, right? I spoke with some of the SAP consultants, and they're telling me that if you know central finance, you got enough to go along for next 10 years, at least 15 years.
So just one, you owe me.
A job. You have a job after this. This is the right investment. Stick to it and learn it. That's good.
So, just one, you need to give me $500 for that, okay? All the free advice I've given you.
Okay. We'll take it as offline, Akshay. Don't worry. We'll take it as offline, okay? So let me first start about this process, okay? Thank you very much. Yeah. So, central finance system actually. So, the concept is very clear here is nothing but the purpose of the central finance we are only maintaining. So if you see the central finance, we call it as a target system. So why we have to go for the central finance? Because we are going to be using the heterogeneous landscape, and there will be a lot of accounting transactions are getting posted in various other source systems. So what is happening? The month-end closing activity and year-end closing activity and purpose of the reporting is getting difficult to maintain in each and every source system actually, because there are going to be the independent system. Okay, could you please mute your call, please, all of you, please. There is some background noise. Okay. So the main purpose here is from the client side. When you take from the client side, the posting is not a problem for them. Okay, so each and every system, there are some dedicated resources are there. They are doing the posting of all the financial transactions from the procurement of the raw material till the goods have been sold to the customer. There is no issue in posting of any transaction, but at the point of reporting, when the point of reporting for the management decision making or something like for external reporting based on the financial statement, so this is getting difficult for them to get all the data from each and every source system and to compile the data to understand, okay, what is the total trial balance or what it may be. Okay, so the reporting system is most important for any financial consultant, even if you take a financial manager. So they want to have a common database approach. They want to have a one system actually, instead of calling a common database approach, they want to have a one system where I can use the system for any reporting system, for any reporting. See the finance, either it can be the finance or something like sales or whatever, any reporting system for the management decision making purpose. So as we see that SAP is providing you a lot of deployment options. We can see the deployment option of cloud. We can see the deployment option of on-premise. We can see the deployment of hybrid. There are several deployment options have been provided. So in the when I take an on-premise system, which is completely working on the next generation business suite, I can call it as the SAP S4 HANA. Now there is a one transition scenario. In the transition scenario, we are going to be calling it as a sidecar approach, where it is called as a central finance system, where now you can build your central finance system. You can use a central finance system as a target system for the reporting purpose. So for that, it is not like a greenfield implementation where you have to do the configuration from the scratch, from the creating of the company code and everything. No, it is not a greenfield implementation. Neither it is not a conversion or the migration project. It's a separate project, has to be treated into the consideration. So yes. Okay, so how this is going to run? The first important thing is nothing but what are the replications I can make? What are all the replications I can make from the source system to the target system here? So there are three replications we are going to be doing here. Okay, in our example also. One is the most important replication. We can call it as a FICO document replication of FICO documents, very important. And from 18.1 and some changes have been happened. We can also see some changes of 18.1 and 19.1 and the replication of CO documents. Okay, replication of CO documents. And the third but not the least, we can see the cost object postings. Okay, we can see the cost object replications. Cost object.
So Mahesh, why we are doing a replication is just because of the SLT. SLT, there's a replication. That's what you are saying.
Yeah. See, for example, okay, replication is nothing but, okay, see, for example here. So in a source system, okay, when you take your source system, for example, I can call it as a source system, either SAP or non-SAP system. Okay. Now, in SAP or non-SAP system, when you take a system, as I told you in earlier also, in central finance, we are not supposed to post any documents manually. Central finance is a system where it is only maintained for the reporting purpose, not for posting of any financial transactions in the central finance system. So how the central finance system will get the documents, from where this transaction data is going to be coming? This transactional data is coming through the source system. So when I call this replication here is, so when you're posting any financial data, when you're posting any financial transactions in the source system, so the system, what it will do, the source system will okay, the source system will automatically, it will get posted the document from the database. This SLT, what it will do, it will take that particular transaction from the database and it will replicate the same document into the SAP S4 HANA and it get posted in SAP S4 HANA. So what happens here? So whatever that's replicate, whatever the source documents we have, those are getting replicated through the SLT. Without the SLT, yes, you're right. Without the SLT, I cannot do any kind of replication from the source system to the target system. So through the SLT, these documents I'm replicating and get triggered to the SAP S4 HANA and it will get automatically get posted to the database. So I'm not posting any manually. So it is get posted automatically because I'm going to construct a landscape between the source system to the target system by the use of one interface, which is going to be called as a SLT process over here. So these are going to be called as a replication. That is the reason I'm going to be using as a something called as a FICO replication, or it is going to be called a CO replication or a cost object. When you call it as a cost object, something like we have cost center, profit center, we have different cost objects. So how these cost objects are going to be replicated? So these are the three different interfaces. These are the three different replications we are going to see in the central finance system. Clear, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, but what is required? The most important thing is going to be addressed over here. So what is going to be required if I want to work with a central finance system? So if you want to work with a central finance system, then the three things. Okay, one is going to be you need to have a license of target system, which is going to be called as the SAP S4 HANA system, a target system. And at the same time, you need to have the license of SLT. SLT is nothing but which is going to be called as the system landscape replication transmission tool. We can call it as the SLT tool. So SLT tool, okay, there are separate consultants are working on SAP tool for the mapping. And at the same time, if the MDG is nothing but master data governance, which is going to be used for the business mapping scenario. So whenever you're mapping, whenever you're coming any transaction from the source system to the target system, this MDG is going to be useful for the master data governance for the mapping of business scenario. So in some cases, if the MDG is not available, okay, in some cases, if the MDG is not going to be available, so no need to worry about that. We can do the manual mapping. Okay, that is going to be the process. But 99.9% MDG is going to be the default in SAP S4 HANA for the mapping of all the scenarios. So I'll show the MDG also. Yes, sir.
Mahesh, what I've heard is that within CFIN, there's called MDG Foundation.
Yes,
so and within Central Finance, there's a capability called Master Data Governance Foundation.
Exactly.
And then you really, if you want to get MDG, Master Data Governance, which is outside green box, you can get that, and that can be used to maintain the business mapping for the entire entire enterprise S4 HANA system. Am I correct?
But no, yes, for example, okay, that you're correct. But here we are not going to be taking off any external MDG process. So we are going to have the MDG process internally in SAP S4 HANA. So as I told you, yeah.
Do I need to get a separate license for MDG?
No, nothing like that. It is the inbuilt. So no need to get any separate license for MDG process over here.
So MDG is embedded within Central Finance.
Exactly. I'll discuss more into that. Okay. So in the coming classes. So here, what is the first thing actually when I have to do here? Okay. When I want to have the system should be ready for the central replication process here. The first most important thing here is, first of all, you need to have all the master data in the central finance system. Very, very important. All the master data means you should have to build your central finance system with the master data of the GL accounting and the central finance master data of the customer accounts, vendor accounts. And one more important thing is nothing but till now in SAP S4 HANA in the central finance, asset transactions are not going to be replicated. Asset accounting transactions are not going to be added to the central finance system. It is an out of scope as in central finance system we don't have. So system is trying to build up. SAP is trying to build up the asset transaction posting in 1909. Let me see once they are released, what type of transactions we can post to the central finance system related to the asset accounting. So except the asset accounting. Now recently they have added the commitments also. Now you can replicate the commitment posting to the SAP S4 central finance system. So before you do the actual go live of central finance system, first of all you need to build the central finance system by developing the master data, by configuring the master data, GL master data, vendor master data, customer master data, and the controlling and the material master data. So you have to develop. So once the system master data is completely developed, then what I'm going to do here is, first of all, now whatever the sources, this is only introduction, please. This is only introduction of overview of the central finance system, what exactly we are going to do in the further classes. So then how this SLT is getting connected to your source system through the RFC. RFC is nothing but, okay, remote desktop. Okay, sorry, it is going to be the connectivity interface between the SLT to the SAP database. That is going to be either it is a non-SAP database or SAP database, whatever maybe. Because see, if I call it as the SAP Business Suite on HANA, then it is the SAP HANA database. If I call it as the SAP Business Suite, then it is the non-SAP database. So it's a purpose of integrating. It's a purpose of integrating your SLT not to the applications, not to the application. Very, very important. My SLT is never been interfaced to the source system at the application level. My SLT is triggering the database from the database approach, not from the application level. So as you feel that, as you see that, now if you want to replicate any data from the source system to the target system, the RFC is triggering the data from the databases, not from the application. So if you see the diagram very carefully, this is the database. The green color one is going to be called as a database. I'm triggering the data from the database, not from the application. This is the first point everybody has to remembered before we go into the central finance process over here. So in this example, so I'm going to be taking two systems. In this example, I'm going to be taking the two systems. One is going to be called as your SAP ECC as the target system, and one is going to be called as the central finance system. And one is going to be called as the central finance system. To connect this both of them, what we have done here is nothing but, so we need to have the SLT. We need to have the SLT. So if I go to the SLT, sorry. So
what is the transaction code?
I'll tell you all. I'll tell you everything. LTRC. LTRC is the transaction code we are going to be using. Okay. LT.
Yeah. What? LT.
LTRC. L.
Okay. Okay.
TRC.
Okay.
Okay.
How do you get these transaction codes? I'm sorry. I mean, I'm just new to this SAP. So
No. I'll give you all the transaction code. Just here, this is what exactly how this landscape has been built out. I'm just explaining. But in the actual classes, when we are discussing about the process design, so where I'm going to explain you about the process example with the transaction codes. Okay. I will give the list of all the transaction codes related to the central finance. Okay. Yeah. Now, if you see here, this is my SLT. This is my SLT, which is going to be called as SAP LT replication server. This is landscape replication server. This is the initial screen you can see. This is what exactly the interface connectivity between the source systems and the target system. So yeah, here the SLT has been completely built up. Okay, who is going to build the SLT? SLT is not part of the functional consultant. First of all, SLT is not going to build by the functional consultant. SAP is going to build by the technical consultants and the basis administrators, not by your functional consultant. But in our class, I'm going to show the complete concepts of the SLT process, how they have built up and what is the configuration they have done to build up this SLT process over here. So this is the SLT. This is my SLT system. And you can see here the SLT system, the status is showing as a green color, means your SLT setup has been successfully done. Okay. Here you can see here the source system and what is the target system. There are two systems are there. One is going to be called as your source system, which is getting connected with the RFC connection. Just now I told that RFC is going to be used. Okay. RFC connection, and the target system is getting connected with your RFC, means here this is what exactly I want to tell. Okay. This is what exactly. So the SLT landscape replication server is getting connected to your database with the RFC. And when the documents are getting triggered to your central finance system, the RFC connectivity is getting activated between the SLT and your SAP S4 HANA, which we are going to be calling it as a target system. So yes, I'm going to show. This is only the exam. This is only the introduction explanation how the SLT is going to build up. Okay, in the coming classes, we are going to see every topic in a detailed way. Okay, so when I look into the table, when I look into the each and every process, as I told you, there are three interfaces are there. One is going to be called as FICO interface. The FICO interface is going to look like this. Okay, CFIN underscore ACCHD, which is going to be called as accounting interface, and the controlling interface COBK is nothing but your controlling interface, and the AUFK is nothing but cost object interfaces. So there are three interfaces are going to be built up for that. Because why only the three interfaces? Because we are replicating the financial data, we are replicating the controlling data from the source system to the target system. So there are three interfaces we are going to looking. One is FICO replication, second one is going to be called as a controlling replication, and the third one is going to be called as a cost object replication. So here we have all the replication tables. We can see these are the three different replication tables we have constructed to the SLT process. But this is okay, and we are going to see the live example how these tables are going to be configured. This is the setup we have. This is the setup done by the technical people. Just I'm explaining on the overview, but in the later classes I'm going to show one example how to build up these tables. Okay, how these tables have been built up. We are going to see in a much more detailed way. No need to worry about that. So these are the three tables, very important. One. Okay, so one table is related to the FICO, second table is related to the controlling, third table is related to the AUFK is something like we are related to the cost object. So these are the three tables has to be built up for the configuration. Second one, these are the logical tables. We can call them as a logical tables. We call them as a logical tables. So I'll come one by one, step by step process. Okay, so yes, so these are going to be the single process. Okay, so we are going to be calling as a AUFK, which is going to be how the process mode is going to be coming. Single process is nothing but only one cost object. Single process is going to be done. Parallel processing is nothing but when you're posting any documents from the CO, that is from the source system to the target system, parallel processing. So there are some ranges are going to be inserted for that. How this parallel processing ranges, how this single process ranges are going to be constructed, we are going to discuss in a detailed way. And the second one is going to be application log. Okay, what filters we are going to be applying for the transmission from the data from the source system to the target system. All the filters are going to be applied over here. And load setting. Load setting is nothing but before you do the processing, we all know that whenever any greenfield implementation has been successfully, when we have done when you have done the greenfield implementation, so before you go for the production go live, if you take a greenfield implementation project, what you are going to do before the go live? So we are going to be calling, there is a one phase we are going to be calling. First phase is going to be called as the discovery phase. Second one is going to be called as the preparation phase. Third phase is going to be called as a explore realization. Okay, so after you complete the realization, phase, so we have to do the cutover activities. In the normal, if we go for the greenfield implementation projects, we will do all the cutover activities. Cutover activities is nothing but we are taking all the master data and the transactional data from the legacy system, and we are uploading the data to your target system, which is going to be called as your SAP S4 HANA system. In the same way, before you do the go live, before you start doing the go live here, which is going to be called as initial load. Initial load is nothing but the data as on today, because tomorrow we are going the go live. Tomorrow we are planning to go live with the central finance, but before we go live, we need to have the data from the source system to the target system, because 5 years of data should be loaded into the source system to the target system. That is called as initial load. We call them as the initial load. So how these initial loads are going to be done, what tables are going to be triggered? Okay, so initial load is very important. Now where we are going to be started, because without the initial load, I cannot go for the go live. If hey Rahul, do one thing. I don't want the initial load because we are planning next year. Okay, we are planning for the next year. So already we have closed all the financial accounting transactions. We already done the preparation of P&L account and balance sheet for the current year. Okay, no need of all the previous year data into the current system, please. Don't load anything. So can we start with a fresh, without any initial load? Okay, because you're talking about the initial load is something like cutover activity, just like a cutover activities. But I don't want any previous years of data. Okay, so current year from the 2020, I want to have a very fresh data into the central finance system because already previous years are already available in the other database. So if required, I will get the data from the other databases. So don't load anything into the central finance that is in the SAP HANA database. So without the loading, without the initial loading, can I start my SAP central finance system as a startup for my company? Yes, you can do that. Without initial load also, you can do that. That is going to be called as a proof of concept. We can call them as a proof of concept. I'm going to explain the concept of proof of concept in our coming classes. So the first most important thing before you go live with SAP S4 HANA Central Finance System is the initial load. Initial load of the data from the source system to the target system. And then we are going to, after you complete the initial load, so these are going to be called as, okay, so how the SLT have been constructed, okay, what functions are going to be working in the SLT, how this mapping you have done in the SLT. So these all are going to be called as a technicals, okay, so technical tables are going to be integrated, but I'm going to make you to understand how this particular actions are going to be taken into our system and how these are going to be working in our system. So I'm going to take about all this. So if you see here, there are different icons are there. My dear friend, you will not get this information in any YouTube or anywhere in any books. I'm putting all my real-time experience over here to make you to make yourself to be comfortable. So I'm going to show the real-time replication process in SAP S4HANA as a process of central finance. Very, very important. I'm using my real-time experience.
So Mahesh,
Yes, sir.
you should be awarded. You should be awarded. You should be awarded Nobel Prize in SAP then.
Okay, so your voice
should
is
be
breaking.
awarded
Come again?
Nobel Prize in SAP Central Finance. Okay.
Yes, correct, sir. Correct.
I'm saying you should be awarded Nobel Prize. Okay, in SAP. Okay.
That I'll go. That anyhow we are going to take into consideration. No, do it. Okay. So now. So how to reset the triggering of the table? So how the tables are going to be triggered? How the reset of the triggering tables are going to be looping? Everything, okay? So how the tables are going to be looping to the database tables? How the source codes are going to be triggered? I'm going to show all this process in a moment. This is what exactly the SLT. I'm going to be explaining the process of SLT process, okay? This is how the SLT is going to build up. Then before you do the SLT build up, before you go, now what we have to do here, this is the SLT. Now I'm logging out from the SLT. Now what I'm going to do, I'm connecting to the source system. Now I'm connecting to the source system. This is what exactly I call it as my source system. So before you do the replication, okay, before you do the replication, is there anything I need to do the configuration? Because you're telling that the data is getting replicated from the source system to the target system. So is there any action should be done from the source system side before I start doing the replication as a go live? Yes. Okay, so okay, so yes, we have to do the replication process. Okay, so we have to do all the components of the initial load of the transactions. Okay, so we have to complete all these transactions in a better way. So what I have to do? What I have to do before I start doing of any kind of configuration process in my SLT process over here. Okay, so the first major important thing is nothing but error handling. Yes. I will give all this transaction codes. No need to worry, my dear friends. I'm going to give you all these transaction codes. Okay, no need to worry. So when I take a system here, when I take this diagram here, okay, if you see here, when any documents are getting replicated from the source system to the target system, once the documents are getting replicated through the accounting interface, so what is happening? The business mapping is going to be done. Once the business mapping is done, so here in the phase number 3, you can see here ECS. Okay, very, very important. Error correction system. Okay, error correction. Okay, so how do I know that what type of errors has been encountered in my SAP Central Finance System? Somebody has to be monitored those errors. Very, very important. That is what we are going to be doing through the AIEF tool. So what is the tool we are going to be using for this error handling? Okay, application interface framework. We call it as the application interface framework. This application interface framework we are going to be using to handle the errors. What type of errors? Okay, so somebody has to monitor these errors and they have to fix those errors. Then only after fixing those errors, I can see that errors. After fixing the errors, the document will go to the internal accounting interface and the documents will go and store in the SAP HANA database. So until or unless those accounting interfaces, until or unless those errors are not going to be corrected, until or unless those accounting interfaces are not going to be corrected with error replication, I cannot post the document to my SAP S4 HANA system. So how this AAF is going to be constructed? We have a separate section.
My question, go back to the previous. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Just go back to the previous diagram. Suppose I have 1,000 documents, FICO documents I have replicated, okay? So will I be able to see 950 journal entries in the universal journal in the HANA database? I mean,
100%.
1,000.
That's
No. 950 I can see and 50 I have to correct. Or all of them have to be clean. I mean, 950 transactions will not be posted to the universal journal.
No.
Unless I correct.
No. You're it's valid and it is a very interesting question. So thanks for asking this question. See, for example, you have processed the 950 documents from the source system to the target system. Out of this 950, 900 documents have been correctly mapped and they have, okay, through the AAF, okay, I found out there are no errors are there. But there are remaining 50 documents, there are some errors are there. The system will not stop for the total 950 documents. The system will post the 900 documents to the database. And for the 50 documents, you have to do the analysis in the AAF tool. AAF is nothing but application interface framework. So in this application interface framework, when I go to this application interface framework, this is what exactly I'm talking about. So okay, out of those 50 documents are going to be shown in a separate log for me. So first of all, I need to build up the AAF interface structure mapping. Okay, everything I'm going to show all these things. Once I do all these interfaces in the error handling, in the defined application, when I go into the defined application, so from which application these 50 documents have come, what is the error, whether any mandatory information, something like as a cost objects are going to be missing, because which is very mandatory in SAP S4HANA, or something like any other information like decimal places, something like, or accounting, that particular account number has not properly mapped over here in SAP S1, there will be a lot of error corrections has to be done. So it's a part of the duty of the application interface framework. Okay, so a consultant is going to monitor all this on the day-to-day basis. Very, very important. So during his monitoring, he will.
Mahesh, you're in the S4 HANA system right now. Central Finance System. You're in the ECC. You're in the S4 HANA, right?
Yeah. S4 HANA.
You're in. Of course.
Okay. So I am going to monitor. I am going to maintain the application for the specific field. Okay. What are all the fields? Okay. We are going to structure the fields over here. So what are all the data elements? Okay, I'm going to show. So what are the, so these are the basic configuration, because something like, so when I got an error, whether in what mode it has been, whether it is in a cancel mode or something like, okay, what is going to be the replicating process? Okay, whether it is a cancelled, what type of cancellation is going to be done? And what is the method? So what is, how you are going to be integrating? These are the method of cancellation. So I will get the name, okay, CN_cancel_1. This is one of the message I'm going to be getting. If this message is nothing but I'm going to be getting the message because the document has cancelled for posting of the transaction. So like this, I'm going to trigger a lot of many accounting interface structures framework. So I'm going to be working separately on the AF. This AF is nothing but a separate tool going to be using for the application interface. So what are the table mappings you're going to be doing? What are the modules are going to be connected? Everything we are going to discuss in a detailed way about this in AF. So once this AF interface is correctly connected, okay, once I got all the configuration, then I'm going to be doing the business function system to monitor all this into the AF function. So we are going to discuss this AF as one of the tool for the correcting of errors. So without the AF, this is one of the tool. AF is the one of the successful tool which is used for the application interface framework for the error correction. There are other tools are also going to be available, but this tool is more preferable tool, which is the tool given from the SAP for the correcting of all the errors. So once these errors are going to be corrected, then only the document will go and post in the SAP HANA as a database approach over here. So we are going to discuss more on this. So what we are going to be discussing, the first thing is going to be, we are going to discuss what configurations we need to do in the center finance system. And the second one is going to be the how the SLT is going to be interface between the source system to the target system, and what are all the settings we have to make between the source system and the target system. And the third one, which is very, very important here, how these three replications are going to be configured: FICO replication, CO replication, and the third one is cost object replication. And the fourth, which is very, very important, we are going to discuss more on AAF system. AAF is nothing but application interface framework. So then I am going to be coming to the initial load. Initial load is something we are going to be discussing more onto the center finance, how this source system, the initial load of the data is going to be replicated from the source system to the target system. So it has to be done in both the systems. So if I go into the another system, okay, if I go into the center finance system now, okay, if I go into the central finance system, and my dear friends, you have to easily identify which is the source system and which is the central finance system. See, DV2 is nothing but the central finance system. DV2 is nothing but my central finance system. This is the CFIN system, DV2. And whereas EPX is nothing but the source system. EPX is nothing but your source system. Very, very important. So these two things are going to be very, very important to get understanding about the concepts of all the things. So next one, where I'm going to do the interface monitoring, I'll tell you what is how the interface monitoring. Now here, this is what exactly a consultant who is going to be called as a AF consultant. One consultant has to be completely sit and monitoring this particular errors. He has to do this monitoring. Why? Because we don't know how many documents have been struck out in the AF because of some errors. Somebody has to sit and do the monitoring. So he will get all the list. Okay, he'll get the display of the errors. He will see all the errors. And if I double click on it, because this is a very new system, because we are not able to see any kind of errors over here. We are not able to see any kind of errors over here. So if you want to see the errors, so he will display all the errors over here. And if you double click on each and every error, it will take me to the detailed log where exactly the error, what is missing, what is exactly we have to do from the source system to the target system. So he will cancel the document. He will cancel the document. Once he cancels the document, then a notification will be sent to the source system. This particular document has cancelled because of some mandatory information is missing for the source system. So then the source system people, what they will do, they will correct the document and they will repost the posting, and they will allow the posting to the central finance. Again, he will monitor and he will send the document to your SAP HANA database. So he is the person who is going to be using as a monitoring of all the errors in the central finance process in the tool called as AF, that is called as application interface framework. Okay.
My question, this is Ajay. So when the system, for example, there is a document which has been cancelled,
okay,
and it is sent to source system, will it be directed to the specific user, or it's just a laundry list of all the cancelled transactions? Will it be directed?
He will get a notification. He will get a notification where whatever the documents we are cancelling, he will get a notification. This particular so and so documentation, the document has been got cancelled because of so and so error.
Do they go to Mahesh? Do they go to Amir? Do they go to Ajoy? Or there's got to be one central? I mean, is there a facility within central finance to be able to direct the cancelled transaction to a specific user?
In the central finance system, I'm not cancelling the documents. Already the documents which have got posted to my SAP HANA database. Okay. So if I reverse those documents, okay, I understand that, okay, that has to be get reversed from the source system. I cannot directly reverse in the central finance system. One more important thing.
So the cancel transactions,
okay,
are not the transactions that have been rejected. I just want to reverse the transaction out of the source system, correct?
Yes, you have to reverse there. Then the reversal transaction is getting replicated and posted in the central finance, and that the original document in the central finance is getting reversed over here.
Yeah, but my question, this is not a cancel transaction. I mean, if there are 1,000 transactions, they got
Okay.
posted into Central Finance, and I decide that I need to cancel a couple of transactions, and I generate a reverse document. I send a note to the legacy system that these two particular transactions have been canceled by me in Central Finance, right?
Exactly.
Or these are the,
You're absolutely right. Yes, correct, correct.
I mean, these are posted transactions in the database, right?
These are already posted. So what you're going to do, so see, for example, sir, so okay, let us understand here in this case. So when I got any document from the source system to the target system, as I told you that in the target system, you are not supposed to do any kind of manual corrections in the target system. Why? Because what happens tomorrow, if I see the if I see the delta differences between the reporting between the source system to the target system, I'll see some delta differences of the balances. So I should not touch the source system until or unless if the source system is not properly triggered. So if the source system is properly triggering, I have to do the correction from the source system and I have to correct in the central finance system. So I should not directly reverse in the target system. The reversal has to come from the source system only, not from the target system. Clear? Okay. So this is what exactly the AF monitoring is going to be done. And before that, we have to do some initial upload. Okay, initial upload of the balances. Initial upload of the balances between the source system and target system is very, very important for us. So the very, very important point we are going to be discussing on the initial. So there are two settings we have to do here. One is the central finance source system settings. Another one is the target system settings. So till now we have discussed only the SLT process, how the SLT is getting replicated and how the error corrections are going to be done in the AF tool. But I have to do some settings in the source system. What nodes has to be get applied? First of all, everybody will make you to understand about the settings in the source system, but what are all the nodes should be applied? Different types of nodes are available. Yes, Mahesh. And there is a I'm using SAP S4 HANA system also as a source system. You're talking about the non-SAP system and the SAP system as the SAP ECC. But apart from that, I have one more system also. When I acquired a new company, okay, they are using the SAP S4 HANA system. I acquired that company. Now this is become as one of the source system for me because already I had gone live with the central finance. Now, when I acquired this company, they are using the SAP S4 HANA system. Can I use this SAP S4 HANA system as a source system? Yes, you can use it. But here there is a problem is there. What is the problem? There is a cost of goods sold splitting has been activated in my source system. Cost of goods sold activation is there. Okay, right. Okay, what is the meaning of cost of goods sold activation? So for example, when you're done the goods receipt, actually, okay, cost of goods sold account to change in finished goods inventory account, okay, COGS account is going to be coming at the point of delivery. When you do the delivery, cost of goods sold account to change in finished goods inventory account. So when you see the cost of goods sold account, it is the $500. It is the $500. I have made the splitting activated. Splitting is nothing but I want to understand the concept of the cost of goods sold splitting. What is the material cost? What is the labor cost? What is the indirect activity cost? Okay, that I want the splitting, that already the splitting has been activated in my source system, in my SAP S4 HANA system. Now the same splitting, whenever I do any kind of COGS postings, from the source system to the target system, the same splitting has to be activated in my SAP S4 HANA system also. Yes, very, very important. Can I do this splitting? Yes, you can do the splitting. There is a one note you need to apply. Note has to be get applied in the source system to get the splitting has to be get activated between the source system to the target system. Like this, what are all the nodes we have to refer further before we go into the central finance system? What nodes has to be get applied? Okay, what are all the nodes has to be taken care? So I'll give the list of the nodes where these nodes has to be applied in both the target system and the source system for the replication process of the transaction. So So some settings you have to do from the source system and some settings you have to do from the target system. This is the settings which I am making apart from the normal configuration, because if you tell the target system, hey Mahesh, you are talking the settings you're talking from the perspective of the master data, like customer master data, vendor master data, GL master data, controlling master. No, I'm not talking about those settings. Those are the initial settings. Anyhow, you have to do the configuration. But these settings are some completely different from your master data. So you have to do some setting before you do the go live. So you need to do the system setup setting. You have to do the mapping of the feeds between the source system to the target system. And you have to make some clearing transfers at the time of initial balance upload. And you have to do the initial load, and there is a central payment. So once whatever the payments you have done in the central price in the source system, so automatically the invoices are going to be cleared in my source system to the target system. So central payments is one of the most important. And how this replication settings for the profit center accounting. So apart from the normal configuration of the master data, you have to do some settings related in the target system. The setup of the source system, mapping, clearing transfers. And apart from that, there are some settings you have to make from the source system perspective also. So when you take a source system, how these replication settings are going to be constructed. Okay, from which year to which year data, from which month to which month the data has to be get replicated to the central finance system. So we are going to see about all these settings about the source systems and the target system between the SAP ECC to the SAP S4 HANA. Either it can be the non-SAP systems or SAP system, the most important thing. So this complete part, and then after that, whenever I do any kind of document posting, whenever I see any kind of document postings in the ECC system, for example, if I go to the ECC, if I go to FB03, this is my ECC system. This is my ECC system. When I want to see some documents, okay, for example, when I want to see some documents for one company code, for example, I'm selecting one company code. I'm going to be selecting one company code as a 0001. Okay, so I'm just executing. So these are the documents I posted in the central in the source system. Lot many documents have been posted in the source system here. If I see something, these are the documents from 1995. I'm able to see the documents, and below that, if you see, there are a lot of documents I got posted from 2000 till 2018-01. I posted so many documents. When I open the document, in my source system. Okay, very important, very important. I would like to see one more field here. What is the central finance document has got posted? Because you want to see the document posted in the central finance system also. So I need to see both the documents. One is the source document, another one is the central finance document. So how the settings has to be made? Yes, because every end user want to understand when any document has got posted. The document has got posted to the central finance. I want to see the document number. And at the same time, when I open a document in my central finance system also, I would like to see the document in my central finance. So this is the central finance system. For example, this is my central finance system. So if I /n FB03, if I go to the display of the documents, for example, if I take a 1710 company code or whatever the company code I take, whichever the company code I take. Now, if I open the document.
Mahesh, quick question. For all the transactions which we replicate,
okay,
we will have a new document number in the central finance. Is that what you're saying?
Sir. Exactly, sir.
Okay.
Why? Because see, sir. Why? Because see, when any document, see, this is what example I'm trying to explain. You see here in this particular diagram, if you see this particular diagram here. So when any documents after the ECS corrections have been correctly done, and once the internal accounting interface is going to be triggered, then the document will go and store in the SAP HANA database, sir. If I open the document, because where the document has come, either it has come from the SAP R3 system or non-SAP system. We don't know from where it has come. If I open this particular document, I need to see which interface the document has come. That is the most important thing actually. I have to see whether it has come from the SAP system or whether it has come from the non-SAP system. So that interface is very important for me to understand the process of integration process. So where we can see that, I am going to look up for that. Okay, so that is how we have to go to see and map the fields over here. Clear, sir?
Yes, thank you.
And one more thing, I'm clearly telling that central finance is not a it's not a rocket science, very important, but it is not so easy like how we do the conversion and the greenfield implementation. So it has to be given a high level importance for any transaction replication between the source system to the target system. So most of the companies, okay, I'm making you as the expertise in my classes. So you will be as a target, you will be as the target consultants when you are making yourself to update your resume with the central finance expertise. Then definitely I'm telling that, as one of our friend told, that the central finance, if you got a job in central finance, next 10 to 15 years, no need to go back and see, you are going to be on the safe hands for the next 15 years. That is the boom, especially in the US and in the European market. Central finance is one of the hot cake in the market.
I have a question, Mahesh. You are explaining about okay, our source and target can be S4 HANA system, or it cannot be S4 HANA system source and target.
So, as I told you that source systems can be ECC system, source system can be a non-SAP system, or source system can be your SAP S4 HANA system also.
Okay. Sorry, I missed that one here. I think you told earlier.
See, for example, sir, I already gone go live with Central Finance, sir, with the ECC and with the non-SAP system. Tomorrow we are acquiring a new company, sir. The new company has already been implemented with SAP S4 on a 1610 or 1701 or 1801. You acquired that company. Now you cannot go and tell that I don't want the system because already we have the Central Finance. No, because data has to be replicated for that company. No, sir. Already you went live with SAP S4. So that SAP S4 system will be as a source system, because already you have a target system as SAP S4HANA. Now, whatever the postings you are making in the S4HANA as a source system, that will be get replicated to your another S4HANA system, which is called as the target system for you.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Mike, but again, if I have a S4 HANA as a target system,
okay,
and then for cost of goods sold, the splitting, we have to apply a note on each one of the source system as well as the target system, which is
target system, both. Yes. Why? Because the splitting has to be, you're activating the splitting in the both, because earlier the splitting is activated in the source system. Now the same splitting you have to activate in the target system to see the same splitting accounting entries in your SAP S4HANA also.
So it means that's mandatory.
Mandatory, sir. Why? Because I tell you one thing. Because mandatory in the sense is nothing but a client is required. If without the client, without the requirement, I cannot do anything. Client required. Hey, Mahesh, I want this kind of things to be updated. Without this source system, target system, I cannot go live. Okay, so the same splitting has to be activated both in the source system and in the same time in the target system also.
Okay, so Mahesh, you know what? I was thinking that, for example, if you are splitting, I think this is for revenue, revenue for cost of goods sold. So in the source system, we are already splitting it, and I was thinking that we are just copying over the transactions. So why we are splitting it? For example, we split it in the source system, and now we have two transactions there.
Yeah.
And then we're copying them and again splitting it, or how, like why we are doing like this kind of thing? I thought it's just a single one-to-one replication,
That is one-to-one replication, sir. But in the target system, if you, that's what, sir. See, you're getting all the splitting activated in the source system. You don't have any kind of worry over there. But when the same splitting activated, when the same document is getting replicated and posted in a Central Finance system, to get this splitting activated, so I'm talking, so you will get the splitting activation both. You're correct, sir. You're getting splitting activation in both target system and the source system. I'm not denying that. But to replicate, see, there are only three interfaces we are going to be talking. One is the FICO interface, CO interface, another one is the cost object interface. But there are some certain scenarios are there where it is going to be called as add-on, like splitting. So some add-on documents are going to be triggered for the splitting. So for that, in the source system, I need to implement the node so that whenever I'm posting any COGS, this splitting documents has to be get posted directly to the Central Finance system as the source system from the target system. So the node will apply. Without the node, what happens here? Without the node, what happens here is the system will only post the source system document, COGS document, not as a splitting document. So if you want the splitting document should be get updated in the target system, you have to apply this node in the source system, sir.
Okay, I understand now. So what you are saying is that, like once we want to activate cost of goods sold on the source system, it already splitted now. But if we have to do the same splitting on the target system, We have to have a note on the target system so that when splitting happens there, splitting happens here also.
Exactly. Exactly. So here, okay, I'll 1 second, sir. 1 second. Okay. So there is I think already I downloaded one note for that. 1 second, sir. 1 second, sir. Yes, I think this is the note. See, this is the note. Okay. So I already, this is the note actually, I try to give it to all of you. So when I see this note here, yeah, here, this is what exactly. So there is a note is there actually, which is going to be required for that. When we look out for the notes for the source system, when you look out for the, when an FICO document is posted in the sender system, additional data, when you call it as additional data, splitting data is the additional data, sir. See, normally there will be only one document to one document. When the source system is getting posted with one document, then the target system is going to receive one document. But in this splitting, there will be one more document. There will be one more accounting transaction I see only for the splitting. With except delivery document is one document and the splitting document is one document. Delivery means cost of goods sold account to change in finished goods inventory account. That is the delivery document. But apart from that, I am also getting some additional data of another document related to the splitting. So if you want to activate that particular splitting document in the source system, then you have to apply this note. That is what. So there is a note which is going to be called as enable central finance scenario for the cost of goods.
The library is now closed. The library will open again tomorrow at 9:30. Thank you and have a good night.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is how we are going to. So there are some notes are there. We'll discuss more, sir. When you are applying the notes, when we see the notes, we will have a clear understanding about the process of making this all. So it's not. And then one more thing. Okay. Mahesh, if I'm using only the non-SAP system with the SAP ECC, I'm not using SAP S4 HANA. Okay. Then in that case, then this note is not going to be required. Why? Because when your splitting is going to be activated, when the splitting is going to be activated, it is only for the document splitting of the cost of goods sold account. When there is no splitting, then this note is not going to be required for the source system. I can ignore this note.
Yeah. So okay. So Mahesh, you are saying that only if in the source system splitting is happening, then only will apply the note.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay. I get it. So if it's some system there is no splitting happening, there's no need to apply the node. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. So that's the target system. So when you go into the target system, okay, I have to see one more document here. Okay, the document has to be referred to the portion of what document you have got posted from the source system to the target system here. So this is what exactly the replication process, which we are going to be understanding about the complete process of the matrix. So tomorrow, what we are going to do here is, first of all, we need to develop the master data. Okay, tomorrow's class is very, very important. What master data we are going to be developed? We have to develop the ledgers and we have to create a new company code, and how this mapping of new company code is going to be done to the source system and the target system. So tomorrow, with the first major important class is nothing but configuration part, where we are going to apply in the central finance system, not in the source system, please. Very, very important. Source system we'll see, or because the first mapping is going to be configuration. So tomorrow we are going to start with the configuration of the target system over here. Now this is the brief elaboration about the central finance, how it is going to be working. Did you got, sir, all the points, important points? Did you got it in this class?
Yes, Mr. Mahesh, can you please get us access to the servers, please now?
Please, you will get, sir. You will get it within 2 days. By today or by tomorrow, you'll get the access, sir. Already we initiating.
So Mahesh, I have a good question on that server. So I'm in your finance as HANA class as well. Is it the same login, or this is going to be different login?
It's a different login, sir. It is a different remote desktop login. Actually, they will give a separate remote desktop login, not as the same as SAP S4.
Quickly, let me see.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you. Bye.